Hey guys, this is Megan Lee, and welcome back to a new episode of Beauty and the Beast, where I mix scary storytelling with, ironically, some soothing self-care time. So if you love mysteries and the supernatural, but enjoy a cozy nighttime storytelling vibe, make sure to subscribe and come back for more. Today was supposed to be my day off, so I don't have any makeup on. I just woke up. But I thought, let's just have some fun time together and do some spooky storytelling instead. Anyway, today I'm having a little skincare session, as usual, just some me time. So if you're ready for a spooky story, grab your own self-care essentials and join me. Today's story is about a Korean guy who went on a business trip to the Philippines and saw something he never could have imagined, not even in his wildest dreams. And of course, we can't say for sure if it's real what he saw, but the way he describes what he saw is so vivid and detailed that it's downright chilling. So let's dive right in. Now, living in Korea, I have the luxury of walking into an Olive Young or browsing local online shops to grab my favorite Korean beauty products anytime I want, right? But whenever my friends living abroad ask me where they can get them, I would always struggle to recommend a reliable site. But now, thanks to YesStyle, I don't have that problem anymore. I was super impressed. YesStyle has every product and device I use. They know which brands are trending on social media among Koreans, and they have literally everything. And they ship to almost anywhere, making it convenient for my friends around the world. And what's even better is that YesStyle doesn't stop at Korean brands. They also have beauty products from other Asian countries, which is amazing because I've always been so curious about what people in other Asian countries use. It's like a treasure trove of Asian beauty secrets all in one place. So here are a few of my must-have picks. I use this product every day. It's my daily go-to cream. Years ago, I had this really bad skin breakout and I went to my dermatologist, and this is the product that she recommended. And ever since, I've been using this daily. I don't even know how many years that I've been using this. This is so good. This Real Barrier Extreme Cream. From the name, you can guess the moisturizing effect is extreme. This is the go-to cream for those who have dry skin. Nothing can beat this. And also, this is one of my favorite as well, Medicube Collagen Jelly Cream. The texture is interesting, jello-like texture. Whenever my skin kind of feels saggy, it kind of makes my skin feel tight. So if you're over 30, you have to consider applying collagen on your face. So if you want to try them yourself, use my exclusive discount code, Darkasiawithmegan, to get 12% off your entire order. Tap the link and start hauling some amazing Asian skincare products and invest a little in your skin. It will make a difference. September 2023. This man was 28 years old, and it was autumn. He was on a work trip in Baguio, Philippines, and his assignment was supposed to take a week, but things wrapped up early, leaving him with almost 3 days to spare. The area he was working in was desolate, about as lifeless as a row of corporate office buildings on a weekend. He wasn't sure how to spend his extra time, but then a local employee mentioned something intriguing. On the opposite side of the region, there was a small shopping village called Valley of Colors, known for its vibrant houses stacked along the mountainside like something out of a Ghibli film. Even better, a festival was happening there, so it sounded like the perfect way to kill time. He pulled up a map and, along with the employee, set off toward the village. But his expectations started to fade long before he even arrived. For the entire 40-minute drive, the view outside the car window wasn't one of bustling festival streets or lively crowds. Instead, it was devastation. Ruined houses Collapsed trees with their trunks snapped like broken bones, muddy wreckage scattered across roads, remnants of a disaster that had passed too recently to be forgotten. He had completely overlooked the fact that Typhoon Toksuri had just swept through the region. The sight wasn't just unfamiliar, it was unsettling. The kind of destruction he had only ever seen in news reports, now stretching endlessly before his own eyes. Yet, strangely, the moment they reached the village, everything changed. The festival was very much alive. People bustled about, seemingly untouched by the destruction he had just driven through. It was as if the storm had spared this place entirely. But something about it felt off. Even before stepping into the village, he noticed the way the locals looked at him. Cold, unwelcoming stares. They weren't just indifferent to tourists, they didn't want them there. He and the employee, confused, exchanged a glance, both feeling the same invisible pressure. It was a silent but undeniable force pushing them back, warning them not to stay too long. Eventually, they took the hint. Rather than lingering, they crossed over to the neighboring town and found a place to rest. And as the night deepened, the energy of the village shifted again. At around 8 p.m., the once crowded streets felt eerily silent. The festival atmosphere had completely vanished, something that felt alien to him, especially coming from Korea, where nightlife usually kicks off around this time. With little else to do, he and his companion bought a few cans of beer and returned to their lodging. The night air was crisp, the wind just cool enough to keep them comfortable as they sat by the open window, chatting idly while sipping their drinks. And then he saw something. Out of the darkening sky, a massive flock of birds had gathered near a lone tree. They weren't just flying randomly. They were circling in a perfect clockwise motion, dozens of them, their dark silhouettes shifting against the dim sky. He couldn't hear their wings flapping. There was no sound, no rustling, just the silent, unnatural motion of their flight. Then, amid the quiet, he heard something else, a baby crying. But it wasn't the usual desperate wail of a hungry or scared infant. It was whiny, drawn out, almost playful, like a child murmuring and cooing, yet somehow wrong. The sound shouldn't have carried this far. The valley was too wide for echoes, yet the cry stretched unnaturally, like dragging through the air like a voice distorted through a broken speaker. So he turned to his companion, expecting some kind of reaction, but the other man only looked puzzled. He asked him, "You hear that?" And the local shook his head. Hear what? He was about to answer when the man frowned, staring up at the flock. And he muttered, "That's weird. Why are birds swarming like that this late at night? Birds don't do that, not at night." And then one of the birds fell. No, not fell, it dropped. A huge one, far larger than the rest. At first he thought it was a bald eagle or some massive raptor, but it didn't stop falling. It plunged straight toward the ground, and within seconds, the rest of the flock followed. A dark storm of wings and bodies crashing downward, plummeting toward a point somewhere within the village. Something in his chest twisted. A strange, sick curiosity gripped him, pulling him to his feet. And without thinking, he started walking towards the thing. His companion called after him, but his words felt distant, like a radio playing from another room. At that moment, his focus had narrowed. He had to see what that thing was. By the time he reached the village outskirts, a thick mist had begun to settle. It clung to the streets, creeping up the steps leading toward the mountainside homes. And as he climbed, the air turned sharp and damp, the cool night thickening into something almost too heavy to breathe. Then he saw them, the birds gathered in a perfect ring. And at that center of the ring, something lay in the dirt. The stench hit him first. It was blood, the smell of blood. At first glance, it looked like the carcass of some animal. But as his eye adjusted, he saw more, several carcasses, and among them, something moved. It was this large bird, its head lifting from one of the bodies. Only it wasn't swallowing like a normal bird, it was chewing. He heard this deep gulp, its throat bulging grotesquely as something slid down. And that was when his stomach twisted. And then that bird turned toward him. The moonlight shifted, and in that split second, he saw what the darkness had been hiding. It wasn't a bird at all. It had arms, not wings, but arms, pale human arms. And beneath the massive feathers, a woman's face stared back at him. Her eyes met his, and for a moment he was paralyzed. Then she moved. Her mouth opened, stretching impossibly wide as a horrific, inhuman shriek split the night. Something wet dragged behind her, dripping, dragging, coiled like a grotesque umbilical cord as she lunged toward him. His body reacted before his mind did. He turned and ran for his life. Branches ripped at his face, roots caught his ankles, but none of it mattered. He had to get out of that place. Above him, the birds were circling again, and the birds were watching him, waiting for him. By the time he reached the edge of the village, she was there, just standing, watching the town, not even looking at him. And then, without a sound, she turned and vanished back into the trees. He collapsed. He couldn't run anymore. And that night, he didn't sleep. The next morning, he learned that 5 children had died in the village. And when he asked the locals, they had a name for what he saw. Manananggal. So the locals told him that a Manananggal is a creature that splits in half, leaving its legs behind as it takes to the sky, hunting for blood. And after that experience, this man booked the first flight home, and he never went back. Ooh, that's how the story ends. What was that? So if you guys are wondering what a Manananggal is, it is one of the most terrifying creatures in Filipino folklore. It's a type of aswang, a broad category of supernatural beings like demons and witches. What makes the Manananggal so unique is its horrific transformation. By day, it looks like an ordinary woman, even living a normal life. But once night falls, its true form is revealed. At night, the Manananggal splits in half. Its upper body detaches from its lower half, and it grows large, bat-like wings, allowing it to fly from house to house, searching for its next victim. This terrifying self-segmentation is why it got its name. Tanggal in Tagalog means to remove or separate. The Manananggal is notorious for hunting pregnant women. It uses a long, thin, needle-like tongue to pierce through rooftops and suck the blood of unborn babies. But that's not all. It also feeds on human organs like the heart, lungs, and liver. So stories about the Manananggal go way back. Spanish missionaries wrote about it as early as 1582, but local legends likely existed long before colonization. Some say Manananggals are born that way, while others believe they gain their powers through black magic or curses. Despite its terrifying powers, the Manananggal has a major weakness: its lower body. When it flies off to hunt, it leaves the lower half behind. If someone finds it and covers it in salt, garlic, or ash, the Manananggal can't reattach and will die by sunrise. Other common protections include holy water, vinegar, and even placing a broom on the roof, which is said to keep it from landing. So even today, the legend of the Manananggal still influences Filipino culture. Some scholars believe that the fear of this creature led to architectural designs, like steep roofs and high windows to keep it from perching. The monster even has an odd connection to balut, the famous Filipino delicacy. Some say eating balut could turn you into an aswang, while others believe eating it with salt helps wear them out. If it's just a mythical creature, then why are Filipinos so frightened by it? It's because even in modern times, sightings persist. In February 2023, residents of Sitio Manga, Barangay Dumlog, Talisay City claimed that a Manananggal had been spotted in their area. The story spread quickly, causing panic among locals. On February 9th, several residents reported seeing the creature at night, and even a video went viral on social media, further fueling the fear. The police took the claim seriously and launched an investigation. Talisay City Police Chief Randy Cabales confirmed that they received reports on February 7th. Officers from the Women and Children Protection Desk were immediately sent to the area to conduct interviews. 2 young girls, both minors, claimed to have seen the creature while walking home after using a neighbor's Wi-Fi. According to the girls, they saw a figure perched on top of a neighbor's house, the home of Albert Samson, a 71-year-old resident. They ran away in fear, screaming and crying. However, when police interviewed Samson, he said he hadn't seen anything unusual, only that he had heard the girls' terrified screams. Cabales urged the public to remain calm and avoid spreading unverified information, emphasizing that while the police are investigating, there is no solid proof of a Manananggal's presence. Despite the lack of physical evidence, this case stirred widespread fear and debate, showing just how powerful the legend of the Manananggal remains in modern Filipino society. Whether people believe it or not, the fear is real, and it continues to haunt the imagination of many. And then there are stories of fear taking root in real life. In a chilling 2011 case that shook the town of Tabuelan, Cebu, 29-year-old Alfred Matadios was arrested for the gruesome murder of his 6-year-old niece, Lara. What makes the crime even more horrifying is Matadios' claim that he killed the child to stop her from becoming a Manananggal. Matadios was found naked in his home in Barangay, about 12 kilometers from the town proper. When the police arrested him, he showed no remorse, saying he was simply helping the little girl by preventing her transformation into the legendary creature. The brutal murder left the entire town in shock. According to police reports, the child had been stabbed, stripped naked, and her internal organs removed and eaten. Matadios was taken to a hospital for psychiatric evaluation as authorities tried to determine whether his claims of cannibalism were linked to a mental disorder. And this man even told Cebu Daily News that he put salt in the girl's internal organs because he believed it would kill her instantly. He claimed he had seen on television that this is how to kill a Manananggal. But he denied being on drugs or involved in a demonic cult. Despite the horrifying act, some neighbors and relatives described Matadios as a good man with no vices, making the crime even more baffling. Barangay Captain Mary&May told local news that they never expected such a gruesome event, as Matadios had always been known as a loving uncle to Lara. So this strange and bizarre case serves as a terrifying reminder of how deeply rooted the fear of the Manananggal is in Filipino culture. Whether the murder was driven by delusion or true belief, it highlights the enduring power of folklore and its real-world consequences. The Manananggal isn't just a folktale. It has made its way into movies, TV shows, and literature for decades. Since 1927, this monster has remained a fixture in horror movies, continuing to fascinate and terrify new generations. Whether as a symbol of hidden dangers, a cautionary tale, or a real supernatural threat, the Manananggal holds a firm place in Philippine culture. And as long as these stories continue to be told, the Manananggal will never truly die. Do you guys have creatures similar to Manananggal in your country? If so, share stories about them in the comments. Okay, that's a wrap for today, and see you guys soon with more interesting stories. Goodbye, everyone.